2009, the governor signed an executive order that links very strongly with all the grant dollars, the majority grant dollars are coming down into the cities for their street projects and for public works projects based upon two criteria. And those criteria are based on that every city should be reducing, have vehicles miles traveled or VMT, and also that every city has a greenhouse gas reduction program in place. Do you agree with the governor's executive order, and why or why not?
We'll begin with Representative Ormsby.
I agree with the intent of what the governor was trying to do. We're going to increase our population by 30% in 20 years. We're going to have to live within, we can all agree, I think, that we don't want to be sticking nasty stuff in our water or blowing nasty stuff into the air. And what the governor is saying is, we're not just going to give you money to build asphalt to encourage transportation, more consumption of gasoline, and to make it easier to develop out into what is now more rural areas when your population increases. We're going to give you this money conditioned on you having a plan to not put more nasty stuff in the air, and that is that the vehicle miles travel, and it's also having to do with the emissions part of what she wanted to do. Now, we live out in the West where we have a lot of land. We have a lot of rural areas in eastern Washington. We're used to driving. We're used to getting their way. As I'm older, now I'm 51, it's not as easy to take a walk or a run as it used to be just physically. But I can appreciate that as a public policy, we need to be very conscious about our impact on our natural environment, knowing there's going to be a lot more of us and the planet's not getting any cleaner.
I think it's just more government bureaucracy, more red tape. I'm a member of, or a former member of several car clubs, so I think that's a wrong question probably to ask me. I know a lot of people. I've driven my convertible in the Torchlight Parade. I love fast cars. I love going to the racetrack. Spokane just bought a racetrack. So, you know, if you're going to do that, they already taken away cruising. You can't cruise. You can't, you know, the gentlemen have really nice old classic cars. They got to find a place to park just so they can show it. You know, it's just more government bureaucracy. I'm completely against it.
Morgan.
I would say I disagree with the governor because part of it is that it comes down from these federal standards, and the federal government has no business telling me how many miles I'm allowed to drive every day, every year. The fact that the bus comes right by my house and drops me off at the plaza downtown, that's a convenience. I'll take the bus downtown. But if I need to run to Safeway for something, I drive. I don't want some bureaucrat telling me how many miles I can drive and what conditions. We can only have quality roads if we meet certain conditions that are set by some nameless agency in Washington, D.C. Nancy, I'd rather you decide how our road dollars are spent than Chris Gregoire or some bureaucrat in Washington, D.C.
Okay, thanks guys. We'll do the yes/no questions and then give them their 2 minutes each for closing statements. So we'll start with Hector on the first question. Do you support a state income tax? Yes or no?
Absolutely not. No more new taxes. I'd like to cut back anywhere we can. Start cutting programs, start cutting pay for state legislatures. First and foremost, start at the top. Begins at home. So no new taxes at all.
Morgan.
No.
Oh, it's just one. Sorry.
These are, and I heard them in the last round, and these are lousy yes and no questions, just want to give you my opinion.
Okay.
They're not good, because you can't in one syllable answer what is a complicated question. So I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it under protest.
Okay.
And so I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Appreciate that answer. And okay, Morgan, for the next one, do you support merit pay for teachers?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Do you support merit pay for teachers? And we'll start again. Morgan?
Yes.
Okay, Representative.
No, under protest.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Should state workers contribute more towards their health premiums? And Representative.
No.
Hector?
No.
Morgan?
Yes, they should.
Okay, and lastly, do you plan to run for any other office while a sitting legislator? And we'll start with Hector.
No.
No, I'm focused on this race.
No, that was a good one-word question.
Thank you for that. Okay, we'll start with Hector for closing statements, 2 minutes each.
Just, could I ask one question as a follow-up to that lightning round that you had? If the candidates are being asked if state employees should contribute more to their health care, do the candidates know how much the employees are contributing at this time?
Well, the question was asked, I guess, real briefly, if you guys would like to respond to that. Hector, we'll start with you.
I would believe they pay zero. I'm not a government employee.
Oh, no.
As far as I understand, they pay about half of what the average private sector employee pays, so I'd like to see that be a little more even.
They pay 12% of their healthcare premium has gone up, and it will continue to go up. But we need to have a fair and open conversation instead of blaming our very capable, highly productive state employees for our economic troubles. You know, it was investment bankers gambling on derivatives that got us into this global economic meltdown. It wasn't state workers.
So now we'll move on to closing statements. We'll start with you, Hector.
My name's Hector Martinet. I would just like to thank you for coming here this evening. I didn't actually intend to run for office. I never anticipated this in my life. I would have loved to have been appointed and just been placed into this position, but that's not the case. I am here because my opponent has been in there 7 years. 7 years. Now I just saw Senator Byrd die at 92. He was in there for 51 years. I vote. I am one of you. I guarantee you I worked at Men's Warehouse on Francis and Division for 10 years. I've helped your sons, your children. I've helped my sons, and hopefully I want to help my grandchildren in their weddings. I want this to stay a nice city. I want to get this crime under control. I don't want bodies floating up in the river. I don't want people getting slashed at nightclubs. I don't want drive-bys. I am sick and tired of going to the voting polls and seeing one name on the ballot. It seems like we're turning out a city full of professional politicians, and I know that my qualifications may not be what they should be, but there are certainly a ton of you out there that are as every bit as qualified as the three of us to be up here. So I don't think anybody should be in there for longer than maybe two, 3 terms maximum. If you're doing that good a job, please move on. You know, make room for others. That's all I'm saying. That's why I'm here. Please vote for me.
Well, just a brief response. The reason our state is in the position is because of irresponsible legislators who write our budgets, who have increased the budget 40% in the last 6 years while cutting services and raising taxes by billions of dollars. It has nothing to do with past presidents. It's the actions of our state government that have put our state in this position. And I'll get on to my statement. Can we honestly say that our state government is creating opportunity for its citizens, providing the necessary services that only the government can provide, and maximizing individual liberty as outlined in our state constitution? The answer is no. Everyone can agree with that. No one here is satisfied. That's why everyone has come today. That's why I'm running. A vote for Timm Ormsby is accepting mediocrity. I will not accept that. I believe that we can do better, and that the first step is creating a better government. And that's what I will do in Olympia, is create a better government, make it work for the people, run by the people, and make it accountable to the everyday citizens, not the special interests. Thank you.
I just want to say I'm thrilled to be here. I'm so excited about the turnout here, the fact that we were bringing in more and more chairs, that you are engaged in this political process. Nothing is more important to me than that we have this exchange with people. And so thank you for taking an evening of what has been a pretty lousy summer up until recently and devote it to being here to engage in this civic conversation. And elections are about choices. And you know what? Every 2 years this job gets voted on. So this is a job interview. And you are the interviewers, and you are gonna create your voice and who gets hired to do this job. And I am so fine with that that I cannot tell you. And in fact, as much as I personally have a little anxiety that someone thinks that I'm mediocre, well, that's what happens when you get the job. People have all different types of opinions about your ability to do it, and anyone, and this is the beauty of the Constitution, anyone can step in and fill those shoes, and I've done it for 7 years. And if by mediocre that means average, then I'm fine with being average. I'm a pretty typical 3rd District voter, 3rd District constituent. This is where I've always lived. This is the house that I live in is in the neighborhood where my wife and I grew up. I don't expect to go anywhere else in my life, and I don't particularly like going to Olympia once a year either. But I do know that the people in this district deserve a voice and deserve to have that voice be spoken on their behalf. And when I'm listening to what constituents want, and they can be constituents, as we can see from this political process, can be potentially not very happy about certain stuff. And I can tell you that I certainly don't go over there and behave like royalty. I am one of 98 House members. I am one of 147 legislators when you include the Senate. And that doesn't always go the way I want it to either. But I do know that it is about participating. It's about representing the people from where you came. That's your obligation. And I am so proud to go to Olympia and imagine that I am speaking for the people that live here and say, what about this? Have you considered this? That doesn't help the people where I live. And the work ethic and the get up and get it taken care of mentality. And also what I'm most appreciative about the 3rd District and about my community of Spokane is that we are not interested in the limelight. We're not interested in taking the credit. We want to solve problems. And you're not going to see me sending out a bunch of press releases about what I had for breakfast. What we're there to do is the job, not to make political points, and I've been happy to do that for the last 7 years. And I appreciate you giving me the ability to do that, and I would ask you to do it again.
Thank you guys very much for attending. If you'd like to switch out with our commissioner candidates, we'll move on to the last, the main event of the night.
Is there a chance of me moving the table up? Or,
What's the question?
Move this table up for people to get closer. Would that help at all?
Well, I think it's the people way in the back.
Yeah.